Welcome back to Crew W Racing. So tonight I'm down here at the car club again. We got a mess to clean up. I got a 350 back there on the stand. I got to tear down, get off the stand so I can get this motor I'm sitting on the stand so I can pull the head off of it because it's got a head gasket issue or warped head, something like that. I don't know until I get into it, so we'll figure that out once I get into it. Because this is for my race car, and I should have my race car back from the fab shop this week or next week. I'm not sure, 100% sure, but this week or next week I'll get the race car back, and we're pushing crunch time. Literally, by the time I get the car back, I'll have two months to get the car done and race ready. So we got a lot of that going on. Then, I still got to get the trailer. I mean, I can use the trailer the way it is now, but I want to get the winch in it. I want to get the RV power in it. I want to get it wired properly for the lights. I want to do DC lights in it because you never know. Maybe you're on the side of the road, you don't have AC power. You can't plug in. So I want to make sure I have lights on DC power too if something happens and you broke down. So you got to have that. Trust me, I went through a list in my notebook the other day on the projects on the excursion, the trailer, and the race car so far. And I'm sure there's going to be more once I really get to looking at them and figuring it out. Is it all going to be done in 2.5 months? No, it's not, because time is an issue. It's something that you can't fight. Time just keeps on ticking, and you can do the best you can, but so we're going to prioritize what needs to be done immediately, what we can push back. But then again, you get into racing season, you start tearing stuff up, then you got more issues, and then more issues, and it just compounds. I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to be prepared this year. It's, you lose 2 hours in a day, it adds up real quick to even try to get that back. So definitely trying to be more well prepared, and it's on me, lack of maintenance on a lot of stuff. So I'll show you what we got going on. Alright, so this is the Honda motor that I gotta get apart. Obviously this is the mess I made tearing apart the other Honda motor, so I gotta get that cleaned up. Stick shift trans for my race car because automatic's coming out. So we got that. Obviously this pile of parts from tearing the motor down. This is a 350 motor I gotta get torn down. It's just a short block at this point, so it won't take me that long to tear it down. So that's not going to be a big issue. So I'm just trying to get the place cleaned up and everything else, get ready to get my race car here. Plus also I want to get the motor on the stand and get the head off and start figuring out what's going on with that, so that way maybe when the race car gets here I've already got the head figured out and it's already back on, so we can drop the motor and trans in the car. Then yeah, I gotta put the shifter in and all that, but that's all minor. Could have a running car within a week because I'm gonna get 2-3 hours a night down here, something like that, to work on something. So there's definitely content coming. It just, I gotta get the car back. I got, the excursion and the trailer. A lot of that is waiting on the weather to break because I'll do a lot of that stuff outside. So and then plus some of it's waiting on money to get the parts I need. So yeah, we're definitely going through stuff. We're working on it, and we're going to go from there. Also, remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my brother's channel at Twin J Racing. we're going to go ahead and get into this and see what we can get done tonight. It's going to be a multiple day video. I can already tell you that. Trying to get this place cleaned up, and get it ready to go. Okay, so what I'm after today and tomorrow probably is to get this motor off the stand. Get it apart, get it off the stand. As you can see, the chassis is right there. It's not even close to being ready, so I'm not even stressing it. So I just want to get it apart, check the bearings, check the crank, see what needs to be done to this to make it a good running engine again. So I'm going to start getting it apart, and we're going to go from there. Alright, so what we have here is an 010 block, but it has flat tops in it already. So that's kind of interesting. What I'm going to do with it, I got a set of 305 heads that somebody already put a 194 valve in. So we're going to get it apart, check the bearings, all that. But I might just run these flat tops and get it all back together and run those 305 heads. You'll have a decently high compression for the street or mild race car. Something to go out and have fun with, and put it together and see what I can do with it. Okay, so we got it apart, and then as I'm checking things, I found something very, very interesting inside this motor. So let's take a look at it. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I just Googled it myself to double check, and I checked multiple sites, and it is the case. So let me show you what I'm talking about. That number right there corresponds to a 307 327 crank instead of a 350 crank. Which, okay, it's a 2-bolt block. I went through that. Also, this crank is we'll look at the bearings here in a second, but you can already see there's definitely something going on with it. It might be able to be cleaned up. And I know it's sat here for 2 years, maybe 3. I can't remember how long I've had it. But here's a bearing. You can definitely see there's gouges in it. Also on the bearing, with the camera focus, right there says 010, so that's 10 over, or 10 under, I mean. And then let me get this cleaned up real quick. Okay, so this is the rod bearing, 10 under also, and this is probably one of the better ones out of it, but you can see the streaking in it and everything like that. And the crank doesn't look, I mean, it probably clean up either a polish or another 10, but it's a 327 crank, 307 crank, so I didn't even expect that out of this deal. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I like my 350s. Yeah, 327s are great, but this placement is everything. So I'm going to pull this crank out. I got something to show you on the block too. Okay, so you see what's kind of going on here. Someone went ahead and stamped a number here that has nothing to do with the actual number of what this block is. You look past it, you see the V down there. And then I ran the suffix code, all that. It's a 73 350 block. Boards don't look too bad. I mean, it's almost like someone just did it, something happened, it got pulled, it sold, and I ended up with it. So, I'm not going to complain there. Definitely been sitting for a while, but it just kind of surprised me. So, someone did something to kind of make it match their car's number matching, something like that. Built the 327 out of a 350 block. Common practice, and that's good, but yeah, the way they hit it with just little number stamps, yeah, I'm not a fan of that. At least they didn't grind everything off, and then I couldn't track what kind of block it is. It's a 010 block, but it's 2-bolt main, so yeah, everything matches to what a 327 would be. So it'd be a perfect 327 project. Not numbers matching, obviously, but it'd be a perfect 327 project. So next move is get this off my stand, get the Honda motor on it, and go from there. Okay, so as you see there at the end, it was definitely a surprise to me that it was a 327 crank in there. But it shouldn't have been, because that motor did come with a set of double hump heads that were on it, that were taken off for some strange reason. I got it as a short block, but I also got the heads. So it actually kind of makes sense of why it would be a 327 crank down in the bottom end. So it was kind of interesting. I didn't expect it. And then I didn't know what I was going to do with it all after it was done, because I I like a 350. Nothing against a 327. 327 is a good motor. But I like a little bit more displacement, a little bit more torque off the corner. So either way, I was going to replace that crank anyhow, just for what I do. I don't like anything going over 20 on the cranks, just because of the RPM we turn them, the abuse they take, stuff like that. So either way, I was already looking at a scat crank. But there's always a silver lining in everything that you do. My buddy had lost his 327 parts in a house fire. So we're going to do some horse trading, and he's going to get the whole rotating assembly. We're not sure about the block yet. I got to measure some things, check it out. But, at least, he'll get a 327 deal back. So that's always a silver lining. Yeah, and I just needed to get it apart so I get my Honda motor on there so I can start working on that. So, because race season's coming up, there's no way of stopping time to try to get the time to do everything. So we got to make the time. We got to get it done. Hopefully next week, hopefully next Friday I'll have my car back. But he's finding more and more stuff with my car. So with that being said, it might be pushed back another week. I'm not 100% sure. I want him to do the job right. I don't want to have to deal with anything with the car after I get it back other than the mechanical stuff that I got to do to it. So, and the list just keeps getting longer and longer. And so there's that.